he's a runner. Well, in the last video, I talked about the distributor in the Ramcharger, and I ended up getting a new one. So we are going to go ahead and see if the distributor is actually going to fix it. Well, after quite a bit of time messing around with the firing order, I ended up getting it started. So everything on the internet and everything that I could find was completely wrong. I found one video and a guy was talking about the little piece that is right there on the cap, and cylinder 1 goes right in front of that. So I decided to try that, and she fires right up. Oh yeah, this has been a little bit of work for quite a few days to try to figure everything out, but she is running. Not very strong. I still got to mess with everything. I've got to mess with the timing a bit here and there. Trying to get everything dialed in. This is the first time it's ran in quite a while. She's at least idling. That is a plus. Never really messed with carburetor stuff, so this is kind of my first time just messing with carbs. Most of the stuff I've messed with has been fuel injected. So we're gonna get this thing dialed in, but I finally got it started. She smokes a little bit, but I'm guessing that's just excess off the headers. I'm going to attempt to see if it will move at all under its own power. It moved. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I'm a little lost for words. I don't really know what to say. That doesn't sound very good. It moves under its own power. The timing is definitely still off though. It has got a lot of popping going on. So from what I understand is to adjust the timing, you can just rotate the cap and rotor. And then once you adjust the cap and rotor, you adjust your screws to bring the idle back down. It's hot. It's still very hot. The plan with the Ramcharger right away is, now that I have it running, I want to go over everything else. The brakes, the steering, everything else. The brakes seem to work good. The steering works phenomenal, but I need to do a tune-up on everything because I want to get this thing actually running and driving on the road and get it cleaned up a little bit. The plan is to probably get it set up enough where we can use it this winter up in the snow and actually have it as a driver on the road before we start tearing it apart. So I want to get this thing cleaned up, set up before I start cutting it up. The other project that we do have, which is going to be at a later date, is this 88 Toyota pickup. Single cab, 5-speed. It's got a blown head gasketed 3.0 in it right now, so it's going to get a 3/4 swap, solid axle. But the best thing about this is this guy right here. Got a upright Warn winch, and it is fully functional. So some of the wires are cracked, but This winch is going to be going on the Ramcharger, and we'll be putting a different one on this. But this is her project, so this one is going to be on her dime, and she's going to start saving up for the motor, wiring harness, ECU, and everything, so we can at least get it swapped and make it a full-time runner. Got the Ramcharger moved over in front of the containers, so now I can start working on it and get things set up. Gave it a little bit of a wash first thing in the morning. Hasn't been washed since we got it. It's gonna need to get another wash and really clean out a lot of the gunk. Been kind of going over everything on the Ramcharger and kind of letting it run and check everything out. And so far, the first thing I've noticed is there is definitely a leak going on the valve cover, because while the motor's running, I can see it run over and down, and the starter is soaked and it keeps dripping down on the headers. So valve covers will have to come off, and I'll have to put new gaskets. So far, the brakes have fluid in them and the brakes feel good. The AC is not currently working. I think it could be a bad compressor because it's not kicking on at all. I haven't checked the wiring in particular, but it could also be out of refrigerant. I'm gonna have to check to make sure all the seals are good for the AC and get everything that needs to be replaced, pressure check everything, because the Ramcharger is going to definitely have AC. This is gonna be kind of a luxury rig compared to what I have. Yeah. The power steering seems extremely strong and the fluid looks good. Checking things out underneath, I can definitely see some more oil soak on the bottom of the headers. The tranny pan has standard residue for an old vehicle like this. Nothing under here in particular is alarming, other than the U-joint on the back diff is going bad. One of the caps are sliding out. All in all, it's looking pretty good. From everything that I can see running it, I need to actually drive it on the road. I need to get it licensed first. Nothing is immediately extremely alarming. It moves, it does drive. I'll have to take it on a test drive, and I will have to put together an entire list to get this thing up and completely running, because I do want to make it somewhat of a daily driver for the time being, and just get this thing back on the road. You don't see very many Ramchargers on the road. I'm not even sure if I've ever even seen a Ramcharger around the parts that I live. They're not very common. As of right now, double check brakes all the way around. I'm gonna pull all the tires off, make sure all the brake pads, everything else are actually good. Replace the valve cover gaskets, stop that leak, pressure check the AC system, and figure out what's leaking, or if it just simply needs to be recharged or needs a new compressor. Double check all the U-joints, replace any that are possibly bad. I know of at least one. Once everything's good to go, we're gonna enjoy this before we tear it apart.